Negative. You have to add yourself to the stream as well. You did. You can see me. Everyone can see and hear you. Hmm. Can see me. I don't know. Maybe when it's live, it allows me to see. Because, yeah, this is weird. Wow. I can see and hear you. Okay. Oh, there you go.
There we go.
What happened?
Had to hover over my name. Is the background, do I look a little wonky, a little funny?
No. You look great.
Other than like shadows and stuff?
No.
Look,
You look great.
done is better than perfect, right?
Yeah.
So we're
Yeah.
going to make this work. Yay!
Okay.
How are you, my friend?
I'm good, man. Just winding down from a crazy busy week.
I'm sure. Thank you for your time.
Of course.
As always, like, I can't believe you even like said, let's go now. I'm like, what? You sure? Let's do it.
Yeah.
Cool. So we know this side works. So I'm going to grab some water real quick and grab my notebook and pen. And then I'm going to kick off Instagram.
All right.
My notebook. So we're just going to have, it's a conversation between two people.
Okay.
We're just going to talk. Like,
okay.
You know, it's like the same conversation we had like first time that we met and discussed all of this.
All right.
As you know, I think your story is impactful. Not enough men share.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I think your story is amazing. So give me like 2 seconds and then we'll
Awesome.
get live because I'm going to be respectful of your time.
Okay.
Water. Plug this in so we don't lose anything.
All right.
Over here. All right. We're going to kick this off. 7:01. All right. We're going to bait people in. Do you go live often on Instagram, or have you ever like I'm still like new to it?
Not necessarily Instagram, all because they were kind of working on it behind the scenes. Yeah. So yeah, not really Instagram. I go live on Facebook and maybe once or twice on YouTube, but it's mostly Facebook I go live on.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I'm like the total opposite. I need to do Facebook because I think a lot of people are over there, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, that's what most of.
Foreign.
Huh?
It feels so foreign to me.
Oh yeah,
Like I don't
yeah,
know how to use it because I barely use it.
yeah. You gotta get used to it. It's because that's where most of like the people that I want to talk to, that's where they are. People that follow me on Facebook, I mean on Instagram, I don't really know them that much.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like a lot of new people, people I don't know really. But
Okay.
most of my like friends and family, they're on Facebook and they
Nice.
follow me on Facebook. So that's why, yeah.
Yeah, all the family is on Facebook, all the friends are on IG and like colleagues and stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, this community. Um,
Gotcha.
so I'm going to kick this off. Obviously, the focus is going to be you probably have a great setup where you can do both. Where you can like look one way and it streams both ways. I'm not quite there yet, though I plan to. I plan on
Okay.
getting there. So
All
we're going to
right.
hit go live. It's checking connections. Oh, you're live. It's going to tell people hello. Let's see how to add you now. Welcome, welcome, everybody. Happy Friday. F FGX. FGX. There we go.
Yep. And I'm gonna.
Right. Welcome, everybody. Happy Friday. We have an exciting live. We have a guest.
That's me. That's me. I'm gonna just put this all the way down.
There you go. Okay.
All
That
right.
way. See, that's what you. The wonderful thing about having a techie on. I don't have to worry about all this stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Friday, everybody. Welcome. So we're gonna go right in because I'm gonna be super respectful of Lee's time. So my name is Elsa, for those who don't know, the founder of Hope in Affliction, which is a platform that I had hoped to create to give hope to other parents struggling through life after diagnosis or just life after life after diagnosis. So today, so often in this space, we hear from moms and female warriors and female caregivers. And while there are many amazing men in this space, we don't often hear their stories. Um, so I like backstory. So I met Lee in December. So Lee's from Boston. He's an amazing photographer and videographer, and he did our Massachusetts Sickle Cell Association Christmas party. He was the photographer, and of course, like I'm chatting him up, and I'm like, "Oh, you do photography?" And then we meet and talk after that, and I find out he's a dad, and I hear his amazing story. So here we are.
Yeah.
Lee, tell the people a little about who is Lee Francois.
All right. Thank you so much, Elsa, for introducing me, bringing me on your platform. I felt very honored to accept this invitation because we both share the same journey.
Mm-hmm.
Because it definitely is a journey. We both have children with sickle cell disease, and we both understand what it is to be the parent of a warrior child.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll kind of set it up that way, and just kind of jump in. So, I'm Lee Francois, born and raised in Boston. Um, I had a son in my early 20s, and it changed my life because number one, I grew up really fast at that point once I found out that I was having a son. But when I also found out that he was going to have sickle cell disease, it also scared the crap out of me.
Mm.
So having my first child and knowing my first child is going to have a disease, you know, to me was just out of this world. Um, but I accepted it. I accepted him, I should say, um, because what happened was the doctors and counselors and all kind of stuff. They put us in this room, me and his
Wait,
mom.
wait, because
Yeah,
that's a good part. So I know
yeah,
a little bit of Lee's story.
yeah.
So Lee, tell us your nationality, because that's the other thing that I think a lot of people. So for myself, those who don't know, I'm Cape Verdean.
Hmm.
Uh, Sickle cell does not exist in our community, or so I thought.
Right,
Um, and then so often it's considered a black disease, and it's like, wait, I'm not African American. So I'm not American. So it couldn't possibly, at least in my mind, when I heard, it's like, wait, but I'm not black. I mean, I'm African, but like I'm not African American. So,
right.
and then because I also was raised around a lot of people of your nationality, I know that that's not something that was talked about. So please tell us your nationality, because this spans beyond just African Americans and
Hmm.
Nigerian or Indians, or the groups that it mostly affects.
Correct. So I'm Haitian American. My parents migrated from Haiti many, many years ago. Um, Ended up finding their way here to Boston and ended up having three kids, of which I am the middle child,
Okay,
their only boy. Sickle cell disease, or any disease for that matter,
not talked about.
not talked about, not really. Yeah, never really heard
Mm,
of this disease whatsoever. Um,
mm.
I've I may have seen it in school. Actually, I lied. I did know about it because I did have a friend that had sickle cell disease,
Okay.
but I never saw his struggle
Mm,
because every time he was around me, he was like he had on like the Teflon Don suit. So I never
mm.
knew what it was. I didn't know how it affected him. I
Yeah.
just knew he had it. So I'm like, all right, cool. Well, you look normal to me. So
Yeah. Was he open about it? And what was his nationality?
no,
If
no,
you
no,
don't.
he wasn't open about it,
Okay.
and he was Haitian as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and
So,
we grew up together.
okay. So then, did you know you carried the trait?
I did not find that out until later, later in my like high school years when I was at a doctor's appointment one day and they just happened to blurt it out. And I was like, okay, is it gonna affect me in any way? And they're like, no,
No.
just as long as, you and someone else who has the trait doesn't, make any kids or whatever, um, you'll be fine. And I'm like, oh, okay. But, I was completely aloof to that. That left my mind. It's not something I ever thought about ever again.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So at least you got a little bit more than most people, where they at least told you if you and somebody else mate, there you might.
Yeah.
So in choosing a partner, did you remember that conversation where you should not mate? Okay.
Not at all.
So
I was
now
I was living my life like I was golden.
living my life like gold. Okay, so for those who don't know, my everything in my head runs in like 15-second reels. So sometimes I just pop into songs, especially if you bring something up that I know. So
Yeah.
living my life like kind of the same way. So now let's go into the journey. When did you find out that mm, no, how did you find out you were going to that Caleb? So your son's name is Caleb, and Caleb is 16 years old now.
Mm-hmm.
He is the sweetest little kid. He's not little, but
Oh
he's
yeah.
the sweetest soul. I had the pleasure of meeting Caleb recently as we did the shoot
The
for the
sickle
Greater
cell
Boston.
disease.
Yep, I
Yeah.
keep calling it Greater Boston. So the Massachusetts Sickle Cell Association
Yeah.
lead did the videos, and again, he's an amazing photographer, an amazing videographer. He
Thank you.
does everything from restaurant shoots, videos, music video, the mayor.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. You've covered the gamut of everything in Massachusetts and beyond.
Yeah.
Um, So he's the one who did the video. So I've had the pleasure of working with Lee and kind of bouncing ideas off of him. And as a marketer, storyteller, he loves storytelling. So like immediately it was like, oh, and just the fact that like we were able to get video for the association this season was just So Caleb, amazing child, such a quiet little soul, but I'm like, I know there's some spunk there.
Oh yeah.
So how exactly did you find out Caleb's diagnosis, and what was that initial discussion like? Which is what you were going to say, but like this is it needed a little bit more introduction, because I think this is a rich part that so many people probably get the same thing, but they might listen to the wrong voice.
Gotcha. So we found out that he was going to have sickle cell disease way early in the pregnancy. They have this test that they run that, they look at mom's blood, my blood, or whatever, and, they come back a week later and they say, whether the baby's going to be normal or not. So we knew Caleb was going to have, yeah. So we knew that he was going to have sickle cell disease. And, in my mind, I was kind of like, wait a minute. I remember hearing this word before and all of this. And, all of the stuff I was hearing when I was a younger kid, it started coming back to me. I'm like, wait. So tell me about this sickle cell disease. And I was asking all these questions. And we were in a room with like doctors and counselors and things like that. Because I didn't know it was such a big deal to like break news like that to people, but that's how they kind of made it seem.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like a quick hospital visit. Like we were there for like longer than an hour.
So you knew something else was going on.
You knew something was going on. So after, we asked our initial questions and all of that, that's when the doctors kind of left the room and just left the counselors in the room. And I remember specifically there was this one lady and there was like two other counselors on either side of her. And she was talking and my mind wasn't really tracking what she was saying until she got to the part where she said, our recommendation is that you terminate the pregnancy. And instantly I looked at her and I'm like, what? Terminate? Wait, what?
Wow.
I looked at
How
my
far along was she?
I want to say, I don't know, 7 months, 6, 7 months, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Oh, I didn't know that part of the story, Lee.
Yeah. She was far along. She was far along.
And they really at that stage they suggested it.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew they suggested it, but I assumed when we first initially had this discussion, I assumed it was earlier on in the pregnancy.
No, it was at that point in the pregnancy. Yeah, literally her belly was showing, like everything. We knew like it was serious. Just being there and not leaving right away like we normally do. So yeah, once they said that to me, I was like, wow, that's not happening. At the time, I was working for this organization where I was a mentor to young people who were, like troubled youth. And, I had my faith. I had just converted to Christianity from Mormonism and all this stuff. So like I was a Bible fearing man at the time. So I was like, that's not happening. I'm like, no, we're not terminating the pregnancy. I'm going to have my son and he's going to be fine.
Amen.
And they kept on rebutting everything I was saying. And they was like, all right, we understand that's how you feel. But we're telling you these are the facts. Your son is going to live this type of life. And they were just like going through bullet points. They were saying he's only going to live to 9 years old. He won't live past 9 years old. What else were they saying? They were saying all kind of stuff, saying that we're going to have a really hard life because we're not going to be able to hold a job, all because of the amount of times he's going to have to go back and forth to the hospital.
Wow.
No, like, are you really telling me this right now? Like, I couldn't understand what was happening, why these people were talking to me like this, but they were. And I just started breaking down in tears because everything to me just sounded like basically you have no hope with this child if you end up having this child. And
Yeah.
I left that room totally just broken, spirit crushed. They literally let us leave without giving us any glimmer of hope at all. Yeah, they just told us that there was this organization that existed at the time, the Greater Boston Sickle Cell Organization, now Massachusetts Sickle Cell, and we were, just referred to them as like a resource to help us kind of understand what was happening. I laugh now, but at the time it wasn't funny.
To keep from crying.
Completely destroyed, completely, utterly destroyed inside. Having my first child, my only son, and them telling me he's not going to live past 9 years old. So that's kind of how we started this journey. Because after that, it was a journey. Because literally, in the first 3 years of his life, he went through the most turmoil. He went through the most battles in the first 3 years of his life. He had his gallbladder removed, his spleen removed.
Before, by the age of 3?
By the age of 3.
Wow.
Yeah, he had all of these organs removed, acute chest, asthma, you name it. Like everything was happening to this kid. And, in my head, I'm just like, yo, God, don't let what these doctors had said be like right. Just don't let them be right. Because right now we're going through an effed up time. Like this kid is in and out of the hospital. And I have pictures to prove all of this stuff, but it was a really difficult time. And I want to say after those 3 years, in the next couple of years after that, so maybe when he was like 5, that's when me and his mom separated.
Okay.
And we decided to co-parent because number one, it was tough on the both of us. And we were just kind of growing differently as people because, like I said, I was growing up, like I was becoming even more self-conscious and also just more responsible and all of these things. And she wasn't exactly ready to do that yet. So yeah, she ended up, leaving and actually dating someone else right away. And I was just kind of, single dad, just with my son. Son was living with me at the time, and yeah, I was doing everything for him at that time.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, and I get where you're coming from when you say you can laugh about it now, because even when we did the video and I shared my experience when the doctor just came in the room, and it was very matter of factly like, well, the sickle cell, the newborn screening came back and looks like Sean has sickle cell. And it's like, wait, what? But then it's like, as much like you, I was processing and it's like, wait, no, don't cry, E. Elsa, don't cry. Don't cry. Don't cry. And then it's just a flood of tears. But he was still talking. I don't know what he was saying.
Yeah.
He was carrying on like nothing ever happened. Lucky for me, I mean, at that point, the baby was already here. So there was no saying,
Yeah.
you know, no giving me other options than how to parent him. But you said what that did for you, but what did, as a man, how did that, like someone playing God, and like you said, your only son, your first baby, like how did you feel after, and like those days following, what was that like for you as a man?
Mm. Mm. Uh, just the feeling of loss. I felt like I already had lost him,
Mm.
which is crazy to say, but
It's not, because you have people who are supposed to be guiding you and
yeah,
essentially who play God here on earth as the doctors. We trust them with everything, and they're supposed to be the people that to give us a little bit of at least a glimmer of hope. And they're already, before the child is even here,
yeah,
they had already given him a death
a
sentence.
death sentence. Yeah, yeah,
Well, thank God you didn't listen.
yeah. I didn't, and believe it or not, this is another part I left out. We actually didn't name him yet. At that point, we didn't have his name yet. But once they gave us that diagnosis, that's when I was looking, in the Bible, and I ended up coming across the story of the two spies that
Yeah.
uh, went to, you know, take a look at the land that God was trying to bring the children of Israel into. And the
Talk about
one,
it.
the one out of the two spies who was the bravest, the one who was the most
The
outspoken,
visionary.
that said, "Yo, we can take this land."
Amen.
Yes, it has this. Yes, it has that. But with God, we're able to do anything.
Amen.
And his name was Caleb.
Caleb.
And that's how we ended up naming my son. We ended up getting inspiration from that story, and we called him Caleb.
It's amazing. And Caleb, it has a genotype SS, correct?
SS. Yeah.
Okay. So you mentioned how hard the first 3 years were. And then you said then the next 3 years were a little bit better. Did he start getting better as like some of the, crazy to say, but I think a lot of people don't know that many warriors have to have many organs removed because of the
Mm-hmm.
damage of sickle cell. So what was so it's not that it's easier parenting a child, but when they start to learning and having opinion and asking questions, it becomes a little bit harder because now
Mm-hmm.
you have to open a child up to an adult world that you weren't prepared for, never
Yeah.
mind a child. At what age did he start asking questions that you start teaching him, or did he ever ask, or was he just like acutely aware by mere proximity of what he was used to hearing and seeing?
Mm. Uh, Part of it is the last part.
Okay.
Caleb is very smart, very observant,
Yeah.
like me. So a lot of things he just kind of picked up on his own just
Like
by
as your,
watching and listening because
yeah.
we were so vocal, especially
Mm-hmm.
when we were trying to like find information, find resources, and just figure things out. Especially going to the hospital a lot, we asked a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, he just picked up, so he just kind of knew, and then his questions became like really good questions.
Mm.
It was instead of just saying like, what sickle cell disease or something like that, he would be like, so what can't I do because
Ooh.
I have this?
So he almost understood
Yeah,
limitations, but wanted to see how far he could push the boundaries
yeah,
within himself.
absolutely, absolutely. And it was just surreal, just kind of
Mm.
hearing that from him, and then answering, because we always told him the truth, kept it real, and just said, hey, this is what it is. This is what your life is supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, we're gonna do our best to make it comfortable and try to give you the best life possible. But unfortunately, these are the cards that we've been dealt, and together we're gonna have to kind of work on this and make
Mm.
this journey a lot smoother. Yeah.
So for us, we knew right away that we were not going to limit this child. We didn't know what sickle cell was going to look like. And nothing, absolutely nothing prepares you for that first crisis, right?
Yeah.
It just comes and you're like, oh crap, this is what it is.
Yeah.
And then for a parent, and I always say as a mom, but I know Sean felt equally the same, though he may not express it the way that I do, or he won't express it at all. So, but I know you're a lot more vocal in this space. For me, seeing him that first time, no, I always say no mother, but no parent should ever or want or should ever watch their child, and unless you experience it, and I know that you have, and unless you experience your child having these bone crushing, glass sticking into your bone types of pain, and to watch your child suffer in that way, it does something to you that almost like makes you want to leap into, well, one, the fact that you can't take it away makes it so hard, but then it makes you want to leap into action to do everything that you can to make sure that they don't ever feel that again. So for us, we said we would never limit him in any way, shape, or form, that we would try to raise him. Well, for a long time, I think for the first couple of years, until the first crisis, I really felt like, well, we're just not going to tell him. We're not going to tell anybody. He's just going to lead a normal life. But that was ignorance on our part, because he's obviously, once they go to school, they're away from you more than we need to, and they're with people. So we need to let those people know what his condition is. So if they see it presenting itself, they know how to move quickly, because with sickle cell, you have to move quickly. For you guys, did you go into it with that same, well, for him, I guess it's a little bit different, where his first 3 years were the toughest. For us, it's literally been like maybe the last, I won't recount my story because it's not about me, but for you guys, at what, after he started, like, did you guys start, like, say, you can't do this, you can do this, or did you just kind of let him live, and then you watched and protected as you needed to? How did that work for you guys?
Yeah. It was a little bit of that. We let him be a kid, let him get into kid stuff, but we were very acutely aware of temperatures and rooms, and making sure he's not getting into a pool, and
the little things that people take for granted. Walking into an air-conditioned room is
can
a huge deal.
instantly cause him to go into a crisis. So things like that, literally, we started paying attention to, where none of that stuff ever crossed our minds before. But yeah, we just let him kind of live a little bit with a lot of those boundaries in play, wherever we saw fit.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go back just a bit before we get into Caleb, because a little bit more about Caleb, because this is an area that I don't hear anyone talking about, and it's an area that I myself am like so trepidatious to even go into. But you mentioned the demise of your relationship with his mom. And honestly, well, I can say it to you, and it's just me and you in this conversation right now. Whoever, I don't know. So I definitely can say that sickle cell has taken a toll on everything, including my relationship with Sean, to the point where we're not together anymore. It's a more recent thing, but over the last 2 years, I mean, he's still very involved. He's still dad. He's still very, very involved. But sickle cell has definitely taken a toll, not only on my personal, me as a person, as Elsa, but also in our relationship. So you mentioned that. What? How did that? Was it like a sudden, or was it like a chipping until, or was sickle cell a part of the demise?
Yeah, I definitely say it was. At the time, I was working at Children's Hospital as
that's
a
awesome.
security guard. Yeah.
Okay.
And I want to say, it was just kind of slowly chipping away because there was so much going on. It was, we're concerned about his health, number
Mm,
one. Number two, we're concerned about money and just, living in general. Because at the time we were living with my mom, in like a
okay.
bedroom. So we're concerned about money, moving out, all those things. Um, and I was also enrolled in school. That's when I was
Mm-hmm.
going to school at the time. Um, so it was a lot to juggle. And
Mm.
Caleb's mom at the time, I don't think she was working because she was the one that was kind of like the caretaker
Yeah,
at that time.
hard.
So she was just the one going back and forth to the hospital and doing all these things. And, she just fell into like a depression. And it's in that state that she kind of figured out that she just doesn't want to be in this space anymore.
Mm.
Yeah. Not
Because
saying
then
that
you
she
have to.
wanted.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, no, no. Yeah. So I'm not saying that she like wanted to like abandon Caleb or anything like that.
It's
It's
about
just,
her.
yeah, at the time she really wanted to like find herself again. So yeah, it was a tough decision, tough for me to accept because this was
Mm.
literally a woman that I like proposed to and everything. And
Oh,
yeah, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm out."
yeah,
Yeah, and I just kind of let her go, and I was like, "Don't worry, I'm gonna take care of Caleb the best that I can. You figure out what you need to do, and
yeah.
he'll be here anytime you want to come see him. Come see him." There wasn't no type of we didn't have a fight. There was no animosity. There was nothing. That's why today, when people look at our relationship today, they're completely baffled as to how we had such a good relationship to where we look like brother and sister. Yeah,
I love it.
yeah. My wife now literally says that, and like other people, when they look, they're like, "Yo, y'all like mad close. I've never seen
I
any
love it.
relationship like that with
Oh,
your
I love it.
BM."
I
Because
love it.
there's always that narrative that, oh, the BM is a female dog, and
Yeah.
we shouldn't be we shouldn't be positive towards each other. We should tear each other down, type thing.
Oh my God.
Um, and that never happened with us, and still to this day, it's been nothing but positive. And we're
That's
raising him
awesome.
together. He feels love from both of us equally.
Mm-hmm.
We still chill. We still have birthday parties where we'll invite everybody to her house. I'll be there. She'll have her like boyfriend there and everything. Like,
It's
yeah,
amazing.
it's one just amazing big family get together.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
And I think so. Part of the issue, or one of the things that I realized, and so I entered when Caleb was turning 8. SJ was just born.
yeah.
So SJ will be 8. Caleb just turned 16. No, he'll be 17 this year.
He'll be
16.
17 this year. Yeah.
No, he can't grow up this fast. I already feel like he's my baby. No, stay young, Caleb. But one of the things that I noticed very early on was the mental health aspect that was not discussed often in this space.
Yeah.
And while I feel for you and your heart and the breakup, I so can understand her stance because
Mhm.
so there's you have this child, you have this idea of the life that you want to provide for this child, and then all of a sudden you get thrown not just a little mini curveball. This is like a medicine ball size curveball
Mhm.
that's called sickle cell that comes with so many things, and you don't understand the disease because not only does the medical community not teaching you, but then the community at large is not talking about it, and then your own Haitian community, for those that you know, they're not talking about it. So you're kind of left to fend for yourself, and you wonder, oh my God, how much longer is this going to last?
Yeah.
What will the next pain or the next crisis look like?
Yeah.
So in my mind, I automatically, and I ask everything that I'm asking is because I probably have thought about it, did it, or I wonder if others think about it. Did you guys want more than one child? And then like, so did family planning, or then how, if you did think of one child, how did family planning change the conversations thereafter? And could that have been part of what caused the demise?
Well, in terms of family planning, that thought definitely was gone.
Yeah, same.
Because we were like, well, there's no way we could have another kid because we don't want to risk,
Yeah.
this happening again. So yeah, that idea just completely kind of vanished, and we were just laser focused on this, the blessing that we have now, the child we have now. Yeah.
Amen. Well, Lee, I think there's a lot of details that I'm learning today, but no, there is like, and I think, and that's the thing. The more you talk about it, though, because you're trying to relive 16 years at the time when
Yeah.
we talked in December. No, was it No, it had to have been January because the Christmas party was at the end of December, and just hearing your story, I'm like, wow. And I appreciated that you shared it so candidly and so open, that you trusted me with that information. So
Cool.
I admire your strength. I admire your voice in this space, and you've become a friend. I called
Ah,
you,
thank
so
you.
I'm going to say this. I called Lee yesterday because I wanted him. There's a few dads that I have on the list, and I wanted you to be the very first person that kicks off this live series for dads.
I
Because
appreciate that.
one, you're in the boss, like you're part of the tribe already.
Yeah.
But so I called Lee and he said, let's go right now. Oh, let's do tonight. I said, okay, let me check my calendar and make sure I don't have any board responsibilities. And
Yeah.
then I called Lee back, like, yes, let's go to 6:30. And then I totally didn't manage my time well. As much as I've been talking about time management, I did
Yeah.
have a board responsibility and we ended up canceling. And I
Yeah.
tell Lee, sorry, I have to cancel. Do you know what this dude said? I could do it tomorrow.
That's right.
So I appreciate that. And I absolutely appreciate that about you. I think over the last 6 months that we've met, there hasn't been one thing that I've asked or suggested that you haven't been like, okay, we could do it. We could talk about it. When can we do it? So thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you immensely publicly. And I say thank you, I believe, but you have no idea what that means to me. And then just the fact that there's men in this space, because obviously everyone has dads. If you were born of one, well, I guess in anyway, you need the sperm. So there's as many moms and female caregivers. There's equally that many men out there, but there aren't many sharing it openly.
Yeah.
And I sincerely and truly appreciate you for sharing, for coming on, for being available, and just saying yes. Let's
Absolutely.
do it now, which holds me accountable in many ways. And I can't wait for what else is coming for us. He's teaching me stuff, guys. Wait
Yeah.
till he teach me how to edit and do videography. Y'all ain't gonna be ready for me.
That's coming. That's coming.
It is coming. I'm not gonna put him out of a job because there's no way he can teach me all of his skills. But
Hey.
no, there's a great partnership here, and I sincerely, sincerely appreciate you. I appreciate your yes consistently, and sometimes I ask a lot. I'm not shy to ask. I don't always expect a yes or an answer, but the fact that you oblige is special. You hold a truly. You've become a really, really special person. I cannot wait to meet your wife and get to know her more because she does some amazing stuff too.
Yeah.
But let's go back to Caleb.
Okay.
What has life been like for him? What has teenage? So we talked about the first few years. So entering into teenage years where your body starts to change and different things starts happening. What has his life in sickle cell been like in the teenage years? So say from let's say 12, because I think let's say 12 because I think that's the age where like they start hormones starts raging and things like for the last 5 years. Let's talk about the last 5 years. What has that been like for Caleb?
So he's definitely, growing as, a normal boy would. And when I say normal boy would, I'm talking about everything from the hormones, the attraction to girls, all those things.
Okay.
But he's also interested in sports, in like physical activity stuff. Um, he's a lot more invested into computers because he sees the benefit of computers and all of these things. So all of that stuff is just
And
kind
he
of,
has a great teacher.
yeah,
A
yeah.
great
All of that
mentor.
stuff is just kind of just blossoming.
Yeah.
Um, so we've just been helping him kind of navigate his ideas, his thoughts, his passions, just helping him figure out what it is exactly he wants to do, whether it be hobbies or whatever career wise, and just kind of helping him in that sense, helping them to understand it better. Because us growing up, we didn't really. Well, I'm speaking for myself. I can't speak for you. I didn't really have someone who was like shaping and molding me and like giving me advice along the way as I'm figuring it out. So I'm kind of being that for him. Me and his mom are
Awesome.
being that for him, helping him navigate decisions. Because there have been some hard decisions he's had to make.
Yeah.
Um,
He's not a child anymore.
yeah, because he's not a child anymore, for sure. Yeah, one thing that I could think about that we have him doing now, which resulted in him getting a job, is he
He's working
confronted us.
out.
Yeah,
It's
he confronted us
awesome.
and said, I want this computer. And it's not just like your regular Best Buy computer.
Mm-hmm.
This was like a souped out, got all the memory, all the space. It glows like you name it. This was like the top of the line gaming computer.
I
And he
love
was like,
it.
I want this. And I was like, okay. He showed us how much it costs. And I was like, okay, all right, all right. So I started, formulating a plan, and I was like, well, here's what I could do. I can't pay for this whole computer
Mm-hmm.
because then I'll be broke. But if you put down half of the money, I'll put
It'll
down
work.
the other half of the money. So he started thinking and said, how am I going to put down half of the money? And I said, you can get a job.
There you go.
So literally that same week, he took the initiative and started filling out online applications, something that, I didn't think that he'd have the smarts enough to do it. Not saying that, my son's
Yeah, yeah,
stupid.
yeah.
It's not
Kids don't want to
something,
work.
yeah, kids don't want to work, especially now. Like, they're like, what? A job? No.
And
So
then
yeah,
to
he
know
started,
what he goes through and
yeah,
still want a job.
still want a job
He
because
really
he
wanted
wants
that
this
computer,
computer.
huh?
Yeah. Yeah. He wants this computer. But long story short, he goes through the process, and one of the jobs ends up calling him back, giving him an interview. I sent him all the information that I know, but I also sent him some videos from YouTube. Thank you for YouTube, of how to like ace your interview.
YouTube University.
Yeah. And sure enough, he ended up getting a job. And this
Nice.
was like 3 months ago. Yeah, 3 months ago.
Awesome.
So
Okay,
he's
so
been working
after
for
we
3 months.
met.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. So for those who don't know, Lee was also a computer teacher here in Boston. So
How'd you know that?
he's learned a lot from the great, starting at a very early age. So I'm not
Yeah.
surprised that he wanted the most souped up computer.
Yeah.
So what has his pain crisis been like over the last 5 years or more recently? Has he had a lot of hospitalizations, or have those been kept at bay?
No, he's definitely still had crises that kind of randomly pop up. Um, I will say though, they're not as frequent as they used to be when he was
Okay.
like a child, but
Mm-hmm.
they still happen at least like once a month now.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
that's a lot still.
yeah, it's
Well,
still.
not as much as some people, and
Hmm.
especially where he had such a traumatic and constant first 5 to 10 years.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, so
yeah.
it's still tough on the body.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
And in that time period, he's like, missing out on school,
hmm,
developing a relationship with friends, but he's able to still kind of navigate that. He has a one friendship that he made to this young man at church, and they're still friends to this day, and they talk over video games. That's how they
nice,
talk. So they basically talk like every day.
awesome.
Um, um, in terms of school, he's on this. I think it's called IEP program,
Yeah.
where they provide all of the schoolwork and everything that he can make up so that he doesn't fall behind and he can graduate with his class. And right now he's on track to graduate with them. So yeah.
Because that's tough, especially when
Yeah.
you're in the hospital every month.
Yeah.
Now, is he an IEP or a 504 plan?
He's on IEP.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
that's good. At
Yeah.
least he's on something.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, an IEP offers special accommodations for children with certain disabilities, and
Hmm.
some of them, it could. Well, there's an IEP and there's a 504 plan. We don't have time. I'm trying to be respectful of Lee's time, so
Yeah.
we got about 10 minutes. So I'll go into IEP and 504 plans, but I do have a post, earlier post. You might have to scroll down a lot for the
Right.
504 plan, what it is, what it does, and how it protects your child, and how it helps them navigate the educational system.
Yeah.
But so in time of crisis and pain and things that warriors deal with, one of the things that I've learned, or I am learning more about in recent years, is priapism. And over the last 2 years, it's no, over the last year and a half, it's coming up more and more. And I learn. So priapism is involuntary erection that
Mm.
lasts for hours.
Mhm.
And it can affect both male and female warriors. A lot of people don't know that it can affect female warriors,
Mm.
but and I don't know what age for girls, but I've heard that it can start as young as 2.
Mm.
So Ray Blaylark, she's the executive director of Sickle Cell Association of Minnesota.
Mhm.
She has a male warrior who is now 20. She actually did a webinar last week, and she mentioned that her son started to experience it at either 6 or 7. I want to say 6.
Mm.
Is priapism something that you guys have experienced? And I don't want to but this isn't about embarrassing our children. Is talking about the things that is sickle cell
Yeah.
that is not discussed,
Yeah.
especially for men, because when you talk about an erection, people think that it's sexual. This is a non-sexual erection. It's just the blood flow, much
Mhm.
like everything else with the body. Wherever the blood flows with sickle cell, it affects. So
Mhm.
if the blood stops flowing at the penis and he can't, it doesn't flow the right way, I'm still learning. So, and I didn't come prepared to talk a lesson on priapism, but
Yeah.
essentially, priapism is a non-sexual erection that lasts for hours
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah.
and it could happen again as young as 2. Ray Blaylock, she mentioned that for her son, it started at 6. Is priapism something that you guys have dealt with?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
At what age?
We
What
actually
was
didn't
that
know the
like?
name. I forgot the name
Oh,
of it,
okay.
but I do know, these past couple of months, my son has been telling me that he has experienced that. And what has to happen is his mom has to give him
Oh.
pain medication, water, and just have him just kind of lay down
Mm.
until, it goes away on its own.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And
And
that's
it's not, and it doesn't happen as a result of him like doing anything. Like
no,
it's just normal activity. He's not like watching porn or anything like that.
no.
Yeah.
And that's important to
Yeah.
say that, because some people, and that's why I said it's a non-sexual arousal,
Yeah.
involuntary. And so, and then I'm going to connect. Well, I'm still trying to connect with him, but AR the Prophet, his name is Demetrius Wyant. He has a whole campaign, Save the Male Trunk. He has a documentary. So I saw his documentary. That's kind of how I started to like really learn about it. I saw his documentary. It's on YouTube. I'll share it later.
Please.
I'm hoping to get him on this month. But he's one of the people that it was him and Ray interviewed him last week, and he's very open sharing his story. But he said for him, it would happen right before he was going to sleep in his most relaxed state. Like not even thinking about it. But for him, it went so long and no one knew what it was. No one would believe him. He would be in the hospital all the time, to the point where he said he was going to the hospital for this almost every night or every other night.
Wow.
And he was looked at as, a freak show. You have all the medical students, people just like, he's just there trying to get relief. And everyone is just like, just making judgments. But for him, it went so long untreated that he ended up getting like a penile prosthesis. So I would definitely love, you should. So is it something that's just happened more recently for Caleb?
Yeah,
Okay.
more recently, yeah.
Oh yeah, so we definitely need to get connected and find more people in the community, because I think it's important for the men to know what to do when it happens. And part of Demetrius's journey is that he doesn't want what's happened to him to happen to others, which is part of the reason why he started this whole Save the Male Trunks campaign. I'm going to share all his information. Whether today, I'll share it. But yeah, it's amazing. And if for I don't know, I can't say that SJ has had one, but what started to interest me over the last year, occasionally he would be like, "Oh, my pee-pee's hurting. My pee-pee's hurting." But I'm like, "How could your pee-pee be hurting? For what?" Oh, sometimes he doesn't want to wear underwear. He's not aroused or anything, but there's obviously a little something there where he's feeling so at home, we just let him free ball. He wears pants. We let him free ball. Probably a lot of information to share, but honestly, there's no such thing as too much information to share in this space, because no one is sharing. We're not getting enough information. So if me sharing that helps somebody else to know that, hey, your child is not a pervert, your child is not watching porn, or you know what I mean? Like, let's normalize talking about the things that it's sickle cell that we're not getting information from the medical community about.
Exactly.
So yeah, I'll say that. We got a few minutes. Okay. So whenever you're ready to go, just give me one of these.
Okay.
How's his mental health?
Right now, I'd say it's pretty good.
Awesome.
Yeah, because we do a great job of talking to him.
Awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah. I talk to him all the time. Just recently, when we were at the hospital, like this past weekend.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, we were able to just talk, and that's one of the things. I mean, it's unfortunate that it has to happen that way, but that's one of the things I really like about when he does go to the hospital. We get to just talk. We get to spend time. Yeah. You get to spend time. We watch movies. we still watch like Disney movies, Pixar movies, because we love those movies.
Keep
Yeah,
them young as long as you can.
yeah,
But I guess that's
yeah.
not a young thing. It's just a love thing.
It's just a love thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
we play Uno together, and we just talk. Yeah, we just talk about guy stuff. Um, anything he wants to talk about, anything he's interested in, he just brings it up, and he trusts me to tell me anything.
And you're so
Um,
easygoing and easy to talk to anyway, so I can only imagine what it's like. But just watching you guys in your interaction the day of the shoot, how helpful he was, and like you could tell, like he's really interested in this.
oh
Just
yeah,
your overall interaction, I'm like, oh, I love this. Like,
yeah,
I absolutely. He's like the sweetest soul, so soft spoken.
yeah.
But I'm like, oh, we need to get to,
Hmm.
well, we're a part of a community now, and just in SJ asked about him recently,
Oh
actually.
really?
Yeah, so it's like he's got to be like the mentor for the younger ones here. So I hope,
Gotcha.
with Ruby Rose, we have play dates. We're actually way overdue for a play date,
Yeah.
but it'd be nice to like form a larger group of not only like little young boys, little young girls, but like the
Hmm.
young adolescent, and then even the older warriors, I guess they do their own thing. I mean, I'm here for everybody, but it's for
Yeah,
us caregivers who have not had a space and who have felt hopeless
yeah,
to find a space where we can share our experiences and our journey so that we can help one another thrive in this space because we're
absolutely.
not getting this information anywhere else. But
Yeah,
the more we can talk about these things, it provides hope or help for somebody else.
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
and with that being said, we're gonna wrap up because again, I want to try. I appreciate your time so much, and
I,
because I'm gonna
I
call
thank
on you
you.
again
I
over
thank
and
you.
over, I'm gonna
Okay,
especially be super cognizant of the time.
and I got you.
So what? See, and that's the answer that I always get. That I like. Wow, I got you. And Lee, and you know why this means so much because so sickle cell is it's a lonely little place, right?
Yeah,
It affects relationships of all form, not just like your romantic relationships, but it affects friendships too.
yeah.
And one of the things when I felt the Lord calling me or telling me to like share my story and share my voice and to help provide hope for others, I'm like, but Lord, I don't like people. I don't do this. And it was like, well, how am I going to talk to people? It's like, if you build it, they'll come. If
Hmm.
you build it, they'll come. I will put everyone that you need in this space when you step in obedience. And no joke, because by the time I met you, this space had only been like 3 months fresh.
Right.
Uh, so he has literally held true to his promise. He's placed everyone that I needed for a specific reason and time. And you have been one of them with my love for storytelling and your
Uh,
love for storytelling and video. So this has been a divine connection. I
Amen.
truly, 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 truly believe that. I share it publicly. I believe I've shared it with you.
Yeah.
Um, but I want to share it publicly because I truly mean it. And I want others to understand and know that if God's called you to it, just go. Run to it. Don't even walk. Run to it. He will
Right.
absolutely make a way. The fact that this account is at nearly 18,000 followers, would have never imagined it.
Mm.
Didn't ask, didn't care, didn't look, but
Right.
it did.
Right.
All God. And He has made all of the connections that I needed
Mm.
and bringing people to this space that are just looking for hope.
Mm.
People that have felt the same way that you did, people that have felt the same way that I did. And it's been a wonderful thing to see, to connect with Ruby Rose and you and Caleb and Ruby Rose and Darlene, because it's not just
Yeah.
Ruby Rose,
Yeah. Yeah.
Ruby
Yeah.
Rose and Darlene, and then to meet Axel and Emil, which are her brothers. And it's been an amazing, amazing, amazing. So as we close off, because we're going to wrap up,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
what advice do you have, not only for parents, but specifically for dads and male caregivers in this space?
Mm.
What? You know what? Stop. what advice do you have for new dads? And then we're going to leave some parting words. So what advice do you have for new dads who just got the diagnosis last month, last week, today, that have not experienced their first crisis yet? Because, you know, the first 6 months, your fetal hemoglobin is still kicking in. Yeah. So you're good for the first 6 months, for the most part. What advice do you have for that new dad that just got the diagnosis and is feeling as hopeless as you were that very day that you left that room with the geneticist and like the entire staff at the hospital telling you to abort mission? Heck no, but abort.
Right. Yeah. It's okay to be vulnerable. That's one. It's okay to cry. And it's okay to ask for help.
Amen.
Those three things right there are what I experienced and what helped me come out of that hopelessness mindset. Yeah. Because
it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to cry. Yeah. And it's okay. What was the third one?
It's okay to ask for help. Because I know me as a man, especially the life that I lived, I didn't ask for help. I knew that I knew that I was a man. I knew that I had the responsibility of whatever household I was in. So I operated in that vein. So I didn't ask for help. I didn't rely on anyone. I figured things out. Even though I didn't have my dad to teach me all of these things, I picked all these things up through movies, TV, hip hop culture, YouTube. Yeah. I picked all these things up of what a man is supposed to be. And then on top of that, being a black man. Yeah.
In this world.
In
America.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I would say to new dads. But to just dad caregivers everywhere, whether you have a child that is your biological child or you're taking care of someone else's child, love and grace go a long way. Long way.
Yes.
Love your
God is love. And
love
God
your
gives
children.
grace.
That's right. Love your children like they're yours. Tell them you love them every day. And follow up with actions to show them that you love them. Because all of that matters. All of that matters. When you say you're going to do something, do it. You say you're going to be somewhere, be there. Because to children, your word is your bond. And that's what they believe in first. They believe in your word, and then they, see what actions you do to kind of follow up on that word. But yeah, that's what I would say, man. Love and grace.
That's good. Love and grace. Yes. I'm going to put that on a t-shirt. Sickle cell requires love and grace.
Yeah.
So last question, and then we're going to leave. It was going to be the parting words, but I'm like, nah, we need one more.
Okay.
So you are now married, not to Caleb's mom.
Yes.
How did having Caleb and knowing you were a trait carrier, how did that help, or how was that in your decision making in choosing a wife? And at what point, this is a question I actually started a rail about. I'm like, do I want to post this? Because I'm exposing myself. But as I said last week or earlier this week, I'm literally walking or living out my trauma and my you guys are helping me. I'm literally uncovering stuff as these lives and these things go on. But how did that shape your future into the decision of a spouse? And at what point did you say, hey, I'm a trait carrier? But beyond that, because you're a dad of a child with a chronic illness, at what point did you let her know? So, because I know there's other single moms, and I'm speaking for myself, that are dating or open to dating. How, like, at what point did you share, and what did that look like? Did that shape what your spouse would look like in searching for a spouse? Did all of that? Obviously, it did. But I want you to tell me how.
Yes, so definitely in some ways it did, because it was a question that came up early in the relationship.
How early?
Oh, like before we even started dating.
Okay,
like
so you didn't even want a first date, and you guys had already talked about it.
Yeah, already.
Right, so that's your recommendation. Let me take notes.
I already talked about it. If you're interested in the person, right up front, just, hey, by any chance have you ever heard that you have a sickle cell trait or anything like that? Jokingly, but not joking.
No, I know. I know. We laugh at uncomfortable things. I know, because I do.
Yeah. So it kind of started like that.
Fairly early. Okay.
Yeah. Started like that. And then, once I found out that she's never heard that, that's not part of her life. And she even got it confirmed by getting blood tests as we, we're dating and stuff. I was like, all right, well, that's one box checked.
And at what point did you share with her that Caleb has sickle cell, and how severe having a child with, or how severe it is, and what it's like having a child with a chronic condition?
So that was also something that came up early in the stages of the relationship as well.
So before you guys officially went on dates?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Because, living in living in a world like this with a child with sickle cell, you have to be very cautious with who you invite into that world, into that space. And you have to have questions up front. Just up front, let them know what this looks like, and are you okay with this, with me possibly being away because I have to be here, this, that, and the other, and you possibly also taking on some responsibilities as well as a result of him going to all of that had to be talked about first. And I had needed to know the answer to that first, because you could have a cute face all day, but if you're not going to take care of my child as if he was your own, it's not going to work.
It's a no for me.
Yeah.
All right. So what I'm hearing, well, the truth is, we could be on a first date, and I might have to run out in the middle of dinner because my child just went into a crisis, and you have to be okay with that and not ghost me or think that it's something else. So thank you for saying that. Thank you. How long have you guys been together? How long have you guys been married, you and your wife?
Been together for 8 years, married for 6 years.
So half of Caleb's life. Okay, so he was still a baby, and in that stage where he was still going to the hospital a lot.
Not a baby, but a kid. A kid. Yeah.
Smaller kid. Yeah. Any parting words? We're gonna really wrap it up. This is the last one.
This is the last one.
Yeah, that's it. And then we're leaving. We're gonna thank everyone for coming.
In everything that you do, trust God, because He will make all things known to you, and He will direct your path with anything at all. And if you don't have a relationship with God, I recommend that you start one immediately, because we are closer to the end of life as we know it than we've ever been before. All because of what's happening in our world today. Everything is pointing to Jesus is coming back. And if you've never heard that term, look it up. Look it up. You have YouTube. You have the internet now. We have technology that we haven't had before. You can literally look up anything you want and have it at your beck and whim in 3 seconds. So make sure that you have knowledge, you show yourself approved so that nobody could call you a fool for following somebody else because you didn't know. Make sure that you have the knowledge for yourself.
Amen, Pastor Lee. I love it. I didn't even bring out the scripture references today. So Lee, I appreciate you. If you're in the Boston area, you need a videographer, photographer, my guy is the guy.
FGX Studios.
Tell the people where to find you. You have a beautiful website, by the way.
Oh,
amazing.
Thank you. That's just regular.
So tell the people where to find you. You travel beyond Massachusetts?
I do.
Okay. Yeah, I've traveled to Jamaica. Find you, where you go, and you said what, Jamaica?
Yeah, I went as far as Jamaica. Yeah, it's my favorite place. For a gig, I went to Jamaica.
Nice. Okay, yeah. So he's international. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so my company is FGX Studios. The website is www.fgxstudios.net. And the services I provide are video production, photography production, live streaming, you name it. Graphic design, website design. I know just about everything when it comes to media, because it's all under the same umbrella. I went to school professionally for graphic design, but ended up self-teaching myself everything else afterwards and became a pro at it. My church was the first church in the Boston area that was literally live streaming and pre-recording their services a week after the pandemic started. A week after. Yeah, a week after. And then slowly but surely, everyone else kind of caught up. But yeah, I know what I'm doing.
He sure does. And beyond that, he shares his network. So I'll share this, and this is going to be a shameless little plug. So Lee, so through the pain with DEMA, we mentioned that, we need more people to come out to the blood drive. Lee was kind enough to get us connected with his pastors, and they allowed us to come in on. What an amazing service, by the way. I didn't tell you because it's been such a crazy week.
It's been
such an amazing service. It couldn't have been the ground couldn't have been laid more perfectly with that message for us to come and talk about the blood. Yeah. So that's the kind of dude that he is. He is not selfish at all. Made the connections immediately. We got in where we've been trying to get into some spaces. We've been having trouble, and our connections with Lee got us in. We were able to talk about the blood drive. So we have some blood drives coming up all of this month, starting next week, the 10th. So check my stories and make sure you find out if you're in the Boston area. And if you're not in Boston and you want to drive down this way to give blood, we welcome you. Yeah. But if you need any of those services that Lee mentioned, please, please, please reach out to him. I will tag him. I'm going to save this live. We're going to tag him. And all of his information, his link is in his bio. So make sure you click and follow him, support him as a warrior dad, as a videographer, as just an amazing person in this space. Thank you, my friend.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I don't know, I'm beyond grateful, and I cannot wait to repay you in some tangible way. But this has been an amazing, amazing divine connection, and I'm super excited for how God will use this connection and us as vessels to amplify the larger community.
Amen.
So thank you for providing hope in affliction.
You're very welcome.
To the dads today.
Yes.
And for kicking off the live series for
absolutely
for the men. Because you guys are needed.
Dads represent.
Yes.
All the guys that come up next, please, man, represent.
Yeah, and I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna take AR the Prophet. I'm gonna make sure I connect you at least with his content so you can get some info on Save the Male Trunks and all of that. And I think he's a great mentor for young men in this space going through it. So I'll be sure I do that, and I hope he'll come on soon because he has an amazing story. Okay. Thank you, Lee. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
I don't know.
I don't know if there's any questions. If there's any questions, it's too late because I'm already like 17 minutes past my time, and I promised him. So I promised myself that I respect his time. But he knows like this was a great conversation that needed to be had, and we will do this again soon.
We will do this again.
Part 2. We're gonna have a part 2 for sure.
Yeah,
my friend.
Who knows? It could probably be in your studio setup, and have a little cut camera.
Who knows?
Who knows?
It will definitely be in the studio next time. It's gonna be produced by FGX Studios. It's gonna be amazing, you guys. I can't even. No, we're not gonna get into that because then I'm gonna ramble on. But thank you, everyone, for showing up. Stay tuned for next week's episode. I'm gonna try to announce it, but it's so hard, especially when you get people like Lee that say, yes, let's go now. And I'm like, yes, let's go now. So thank you. I appreciate it. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend. Go back and rewatch, share this, and go follow Lee and like book him for whatever you need. All right? He's the best.
In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.
And we close with that.
All right.
Bye, y'all. You are awesome. And then he's gonna help me figure out how to download this. Oh, I gotta do better. But you know what? Done is better than perfect.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
We'll talk soon.
Welcome.
Look how clear your picture is.
Don't worry, we'll get you set up.
I'm gonna learn some stuff from you.
Yes, you are.
All right. Bye, my friend.
All right, bye.
Thank you.
All right.